We're back here on a Saturday night edition of Woodbine Mohawk Park. I'm in studio alongside my co-host, the Hall of Famer Randy Waples. First time I get to see him in, 4 or 5 days. Good to have you back. How are you feeling?
Better. You know, today was one of those days, John, where I didn't have to make up a plan to stand up or to sit down.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a better day. Back's been bothering me, but today's a much brighter day. What about you? How you been doing? You've been busy.
Just too busy.
Yeah.
Too much work. A lot of this issue for Trot is always a lot of work. So not much sleep.
Why is that? Is this the Christmas issue?
Christmas issues, lots of ads, lots of stories, lots of you just want to shut your brain off, but we can't do it, right? You got to work during the day, work here at night, look at race lines, watch some races. So the time for relaxation is on my way home.
Like can't do it physically or can't do it because you know you shouldn't?
A little bit of both. You know what I mean?
Because, in school, it didn't bother me in the least to shut my brain down.
Oh, no, I did that plenty of times.
Not in the least.
Believe me, I did it plenty of times shutting my brain off. Almost a little bit too much.
I'd even be waving at them sometimes.
Yeah.
See ya.
When I just got frustrated, I just got out of class.
That's the way
I just said,
too.
This ain't for me.
This ain't for me.
Yeah, that's what I would do in high school. And then I would come to
my
my senses and say, I got to tough it out. But yeah, a lot of
growing
pains.
My parents would come to my senses.
Yeah.
You're going back.
I'll tell you one thing, having a twin, we did the parent-teacher interviews together.
You got your sister's a twin?
Yep.
Twin. I didn't know that. Oh.
So she would always get the good reviews. I would always get the bad reviews. So hers were always short. Right. Yeah, she's great. She behaves. She listens.
Yeah, that's like my brothers.
John, on the other hand,
yeah. Randy, class clown used to appear on the bottom of mine a lot.
Yeah, not just those were the days, eh? Those were the days. But we seem to put it together. Now we're here.
You are
talking races.
Yeah, you are. I still have the tendency to maybe to go class clown, but you do a good job.
It's what keeps us youthful.
Right? That was good racing last night, and thank you very much to everybody that played along last night. That was a great handle you guys brought in, almost $2 million, and I only made it to like about the third or fourth race there. I flaked out, but what I did see looked like it was pretty good racing.
Yeah, I wish there was just a touch less movement in race 7 because I really loved Better Double Down in that spot, and there was just listen, we want movement, you know what I mean, but it's just one of those situations where could just not have been a worse trip for that Herb Holland filly there, and Doug did his best. 8-1.
Oh.
Doug did his best to try and navigate through all the traffic. I can't believe how well she raced considering Doug had to stop and start her several times throughout that mile. So Cold Creek Fuego was able to sweep the Harvest Series, and obviously Better Double Down was a great second. But speaking of last night, we'll take a look at last night's action though. She was one of 4 winners for James McDonald. He was the highlight of last night's program. He had a really, really strong lineup, and things didn't, kick off the way that maybe he had hoped for because your top selection ended up playing spoiler. Nick Mabel, nice pick by you.
Right, yeah, right.
James was behind D.A. Black Beauty, who unfortunately went off stride as she was heading towards that final turn. But you could see muscle fashion here. He just gets along with James so well. That's why I went to him in that spot, even with the class drop. These two are a great pairing.
It's a huge pairing, these two, too. Not to mention the fact that he was way up in class. Jody never hurt him when he was driving him. He always gave him, a money-making trip, but an easy trip. I got a feeling Katie Graham didn't go hard. Now he plummets down into this class. Wow, picks up James McDonald. Other than the big thing is the way he looks.
Yeah, he's a big fella.
He's big, and just the way he looks.
It's one of those things.
Really
like,
good job.
When you see, obviously, like Kevin Anthony, a tough trip for him. When James is already rolling the way he was with muscle fashion, you can't release.
There was not going to be a
keep
shutdown.
Going. No, absolutely not. And this is the Harvest Series final here for those 3-year-old pacing fillies. Cold Creek Fuego getting the job done. You could see Doug McNair's charge as well, though. I mean, she had plenty of pace there. I mean, again, just had to start and stop this filly several times throughout the mile. But a really nice effort by Cold Creek Fuego, who's really had a nice year, and I think that goes hand in hand with Daniel Walker because his barn's been sharp this year as well.
I'll say, and he's going to have a couple of another sharp horses in this weekend there that look like, well, I mean, I'm playing them anyhow.
Speaking of sharp, Aviana, we saw her return back to Ontario a few weeks ago. She's been able to kind of make her mark here. She dropped down in class after a good fourth-place effort on the preferred. She did it on the front end this time out, and I thought she looked super.
Oh, unbelievable. I never expected her to do it on the front end. I thought for sure she'd be coming off from the pace, in against this bunch. She's a 4-year-old, too, and against older mares, but still, like, she's just kind of made her way up to here. Isn't she the one that was originally in Paul McDonnell's stable?
That's exactly it. But I just, you know what, she seems to be putting it all together here as a 4-year-old.
A lot of them do when they get older.
Speaking of some classy mares, we know that Line's Better Day when she's on her game. She definitely is one that can work her way up the class ladder. Consistency's been a big issue for her, but she plummeted in class last night. Look at the way she starts to pace halfway down the lane. It looked like Superior Delight was going to get away from them, but here comes Tony Beaton's mare.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, the big thing too is like the way James, like James knows that she should be the best in here, and he was, you know, I mean, there's no tense moments for James. He was shutting her down, you know, when her nose got to the tote board. But the thing is, though, is that he doesn't have to drive horses that way, but he does to get them better each week. You know, next time that he races her, she's going to be even stronger. He probably could have just sent her down the road and maybe hung on and got the same job, but he got so much done here. Plug still in, confidence at max. Great job by McDonald.
Couldn't agree more. Again, a mare that we know has all the ability and the speed, but again, the last couple of years needs the confidence, needs to string together some consistent efforts, and maybe that victory, like you mentioned, is going to snowball into some really good efforts.
And like I said, this is the big thing that I've mentioned it to you before and stuff like that. Just because a horse is dropped down, it doesn't mean you have to put them in front.
Yep.
You can race them however you want. If you're racing them in non-winners of 15,000 from second over, and all of a sudden you find yourself in non-winners of 2,500, why do you have to be in front? You know what I mean? And he didn't. He just kept with the same style, and it's going to pay huge for him.
James, along with other drivers here, in this across the circuit and across the sport, they know they're going to race the horses to the best of their ability and what they deem is going to be the best trip possible. And sometimes things happen, right? Sometimes other horses leave or get in the way that maybe you don't anticipate, but nevertheless, I don't think that's ever a concern for James, because he's always going to try and give the horses the best trip to get the job done. So he got the job done 4 times last night, as we mentioned. We had some pretty good payouts in some of those multi-leg sequences. That early pick 5 paid just shy of $14,000. Congrats to whoever took that home. The race 1 triactor, though, we had a couple of 99-to-1 shots finishing underneath. Cupid Shadow as well as Fright Train Baby. Your top selection, Beat the Fave, McMabel.
Yeah.
She ended up getting the job
I had that
done.
part of it, just not the bottom
No,
two.
you know what? That was a filly by, I think, Elaine Gilders. Trains and owns that filly. Tell you what, Mike Whalen was really excited about the opportunity to sit behind her. I mean, after the race, he was, we were discussing, and she put forth a really good showing. That's a nice filly. I'm curious to see how she continues to progress.
Yeah, there also might be another thing to that, though, too. There used to be a gentleman that was around this track a long time, actually worked in the race office a long time here, was a race secretary at Kawartha when he left here, and his name's Dave Gilders.
Okay.
And I got a feeling is a relation to Elaine Gilders, and I got a feeling that if I don't mistaken, I think there's been many times that me and Michael have actually brought Dave Gilders' name up. Dave, we used to call him the Rev, and I mean, he was amazing. He was one of them guys that knew every horse that was on the backstretch, knew his job, you know what I mean? And just a really good guy to be around. So I'm hoping that somehow or another he's, something to do with Elaine Gilders.
Yeah, really outraced her odds last night. I'm curious to see where we're going to see her next and how she's going to continue to progress, because again, that was one that I didn't factor in my top 4, but certainly with that effort last night, I think one that I'm going to be ranking a lot more, a lot higher next time out. So
Question.
Go ahead.
Does McMabel win if James doesn't make the break?
Personally, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Only because when she got pacing again, she was running up behind those wall of horses yet again. So for me, could just be one of those things where, just again, it was only her 3rd lifetime start, still getting accustomed to the surroundings and whatnot. But I don't think she gets beat personally. But you never know, right?
Good.
But I thought that was a game effort by McMabel. Even with the D8 Black Beauty breaking, a couple of other horses looked like they were going to swarm her, and she still dug in to get the job done.
You don't find it weird that Dougie went with McMabel over his dad's horse that looked like it was a better horse on paper?
I did find it strange. I did,
Yeah. So there had to have been something why Dougie would do that.
Maybe knows some quirks that maybe that young filly's got or whatever. Maybe he knows that she's susceptible to putting in breaks like she showed last night, right? Because he's gotten a chance to qualify her. He's obviously sat behind her, I think, once in a pair mutual start. So, yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Sometimes you can let the drivers do the handicapping for you.
Sometimes you can do that, yeah for sure. No doubt about that. And other times it's just a big, just muddies the waters even worse. Hey, John?
It's a tough game indeed. That was last night's action. We're going to take a look into tonight's action. We're going to kick things off in race number 2. It's going to be the second part of that early double. We've got 8 pacers going postward here. In the morning line favorite, Bruno, no. He's been razor sharp though, Randy. I mean, I'm opting to play against him here in this spot, but I do know that he's clearly the one to beat. He seems to be putting it all together right now because we always knew he had the speed. We always knew he had the talent. It was just a matter of he gets away in bad spots. He just had to make up way too much ground. It seems like he's just so confident zipping out of there. And J.R. Plante has been a really nice pairing with the son of All Bets Off.
I agree. I think that J.R. Plante has really helped him. I think that Gabby Sasso's also really helped him because she's had him for the 2 years and kept him, as strong as he is. My biggest thing is that this has all happened in the last month. You can go right to his form. October the 16th is when all of a sudden things started to make a big difference for Bruno. No. And then till November the 16th, he's still a winning machine. So what went on with Bruno No that makes him that much better? In my opinion, he's just gotten a little bit older, a little bit wiser, When he raced before, it seemed like he always had a plan figured out how he could get beat, how he didn't have to win that race. Now, for whatever reason, in the last month, all he thinks about is how can I win that race? And to me, that's just age. That's maturity and age, you know what I mean? And I think that that's why we're seeing this kind of horse. And if he keeps progressing the way that he is, this is going to be an open colt.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm not sure if that has anything to do with it, but maybe it does have part of it. It's Lasix was added, several starts ago. And again, the efforts, they were always solid efforts. But he's found a little bit more over his last few tries, and the confidence is really starting to build now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the big thing that they will do. When they start to like to win, they usually keep liking winning.
Yeah, and I know he's going to be tough to beat here in this spot, but I'm going to go to Steamboat Springs. I liked him last time out. It was his first start in the new barn. We're going to see a bridle change tonight, going from blinkers to a blind bridle tonight. We're going to get Doug McNair aboard, this son of Sweet Lou. I think this guy's got speed. I think he's got ability. He's taken on some pretty tough colts in the States. So I think second start in Dave Maneri's barn, I'm expecting a better effort than what we saw last week. But it was a solid effort. I think this guy's capable of a little bit more.
Yeah, I would have to think that he's capable of a little bit more than what he come up with last week. You thought it was a solid effort. I thought it was just an okay kind of an effort myself. I threw him back in for third. He is getting a bridle change, blinkers to blind bridle tonight. Big thing with where they have to get him is, let's face it, John, 1 for 9 last year, 2 for 20 this year, low winning percentage. And he is a fast horse. He's winning 50 this year at Meadowlands. But look at the last quarters. Really only the last week where he come 27 and a bit on the end of it. He needs to better those last quarters, I think, if he's going to be a win candidate in this race. Quickly,
I thought that you might have factored in Magical Bet somewhere underneath. I know a horse that you really liked, I think, last time out prior to the scratch. I think you liked him or rated him pretty highly. You didn't factor him in tonight, though. I guess a tougher group?
Tougher group, and now he's been away from the races since November the 1st. I think it's a combination of two. I think it's a tougher group, and he's got a bad date. So there's just other horses in here that I like a little bit better. I think that Aquinas Hanover is going to, I got him in for fourth. I think he's going to come up with a big effort tonight.
A lot of sharp horses that are going to be competing in race number 2, but all eyes are going to be on that rail starter. Bruno, no. We're going to move on to race number 5. That's going to close out this early pick 5. And we've got a field of 10. We're scratched down to a field of 9 here in this spot. Bottom condition pacing event here, though, Randy. And we've got some horses that are dropping down in class, including the likes of the 3-horse Live in the Beach Life, who didn't hit the board last time out, but again, was racing tougher company, and I think he's going to find a nice home at this class tonight.
I agree. Yeah, he's going to be my top pick as well. Before the rail horse was scratch, you could almost make a case for the fact that the middle of the gate is where the power is, wouldn't you say, from about 3 to 7. There's some nice horses scattered in around too. RJ Ringo down on the inside, Back to the Future down on the outside, but in the middle to me is the real meat and potatoes. So let's take a look at Live in the Beach Life, but not his last start. You can see that on the program. It was okay. This is 2 starts ago. This is November the 2nd. So he's going to come back with that last start basically on a 2-week rotation. And this is going to be a nice effort here for Tyler Board. So Billy Davis, if you're watching, check this out, because this is one of the better races that I think that this big guy's gone. I've seen him race so many different styles, but pretty rare for him to be started up real deep in in the lane. Usually he's getting started up somewhere, but look at Tyler. He's got the giraffe neck going there, looking for any place to go, but right now there just doesn't seem any. Now he's going to make a real lateral move here in a second, and he's going to take a chance at this guy. Do I have any pace? And yes, he does. He's got pace, and I like this one. Came back his next start, had the 2-hole, got away at the back of the pack in non-winners of 6,000. Finished fourth, made a huge move around the last turn, third quarter and 27 and change. Now he dumps into non-winners of 2,500. Ding, ding, ding. I say that living the beach life is the way to go.
Yeah, he's definitely, I think, going to be a popular selection. I'm going to go with him on top as well. I do think Stone Carver's a horse we've seen be competitive in spots like this one that I also wanted to factor in. And how about the stablemate, Legion Sealster? I mean, I know Living the Beach Life's the one dropping down, but I thought that was a solid effort by Legion Sealster last time out. And like Living the Beach Life, he's got the class to be competitive in this group as well.
Yeah, and Legion Sealster, where I think he's got maybe just the slightest advantage over. He's been down here already one week. He already got the easy trip last week. You know, he drew the 9-hole. They didn't do anything with him. He finished fifth, made big grounds. You know, the confidence is going to be good. Now he's coming back to this class. He might be the one maybe over Living the Beach Life. They're very close. You know, in career-wise, both those horses. And as for Stone Carver, I mean, he's always going to be tough to beat, but, you know, long time away. You know, I just don't know how hard James is going to want to be that first start because he wasn't even the one that qualified him.
Yeah, I think a popular selection, like we said, Living the Beach Life. He stands out on class, but a couple others in here definitely have some class as well. We're going to move on to race number 6. That kicks off the late pick 5, and we're scratched down to a field. Actually, we're going to have an also eligible drawing, I should say. So Florida Guy is going to be scratched here in this Harvest Series final. That is going to draw in Tricks on You, who's going to draw post number 8. He's an also eligible. So a scratch out Florida Guy, insert Tricks on You, who will be starting from post number 8. And the morning line favorite's going to be J-Port Cash, who's coming off a really nice victory last time out. And it was 2 starts back where this guy really caught our eye. I remember I put him in underneath because I was intrigued with the fact that he was adding Lasix. And you were really impressed. We were both really impressed with that second place effort.
Yeah, huge. And then comes back and just annihilates them in the last, you know. This is going to be a really good tilt that we got going in here, you know. I mean, the 1 and the 3 horse, in my opinion, just completely stand out in this race. They really have stamped. There's some other really nice horses in here. Macedonia picking up James McDonald. Sapphire Steve racing really good right now. Bank on Lucas getting McNair back again. 10 Karat Gold is a horse to me that's just gradually getting better. Coal Digger showed good wheels last week until the break. But let's take a real good look at J-Port Cash and Tricks Up My Sleeve. And where will we go first?
We're going to go J-Port Cash.
J-Port Cash. So here we go with November the 15th. For J-Port Cash. This is his win in the Harvest. Had the 9-hole. And this is one of the first time that we've seen Daryl Thiessen go out of the gate with this guy. That's a big difference. You know, he brought him out of there, brought him first over, you know, from the 9-hole. Did a lot of racing for this guy. And let's take a look at the result here. I thought it was a really, now this horse that he's staying with him here. This is Sapphire Steve. He's been racing very good as well, but I mean, this guy here is just getting stronger as the race goes. Where did you go?
I went J-Port Cash. But again, I like the fact that he stayed at it, leaving from an outside draw, because I believe in some prior efforts, even last year. I think when you tried to summon him off the car early on, he would put in some steps. So, I mean, he's been racing very conservatively, and those starts leading up to, you know, basically last week. But 2 weeks ago was the first time where we saw life on the end of his mile. It just happened to be when he added Lasix, you know, to go with it. So he starts from the rail here. Maybe obviously not ideal, especially in some, you know, in a field where maybe we are going to see some early speed. But this is probably a horse that's coming in sharp at the right time. Now, that margin of victory would have been a lot smaller. Gold Digger, who did put in that break in that replay, he looked like he was going to get a pretty big piece of it as well. But he looks to me a little bit fumbly gated. We are going to see a shoeing change here. He's going to go to what, flip-flops in front, or is it behind?
Aluminum to flops in front.
So that to me is
could be a little bit of a sore feet issue.
I mean, even when he jogged a couple of starts ago, you could see him. He was getting a little bit fumbly halfway down the lane, and after the wire, he put in steps. He broke.
Yeah.
So that to me caught my eye, and I said, you know what? I know I wasn't here last week, but one that I really couldn't factor in, because that to me was a little bit of a concern. But now that we see that shoeing change, I'm curious to see what kind of impact that's going to have tonight. But I didn't factor him in my pick 5 ticket, but I'd be remiss to not say that if he can piece it all together, I know he's in with a chance.
Oh, yeah, he's got the ability, no doubt about that. I left him off simply because what you just said. You know, he both weeks it just seemed like he wasn't moving forward at the end of the mile. Usually that's two things that are going to do that: sore feet or a horse that's tasting blood. I don't think it has anything to do with bleed. I think it was just simply, and even the time that he won here, he was kind of grabby. Again, with a horse with sore feet, they'll get like that. They'll get rank and, you know, kind of rude. So let's take a look at Tricks Up My Sleeve. Now, we both let the cat out of the bag here. Tricks Up My Sleeve, I have absolutely loved what this guy has done. It's going to come down to a decision. I just happen to think that J-Port Cash is maybe just a little bit bigger and stronger. We're going to be looking at this guy. This guy here, to me, is like I'm not going to say a ballerina because he's got more size than that, but he's so incredibly light on his feet. He's handy. Every time he comes on the track, his eyes shine like he's just a bright-eyed kind of horse that loves the idea that he's out here. And, you know, two horses that are in tonight that Scotty Young's done a great job with, this being one of them, and Figment that we're going to see a little bit later on. But this is the part that kind of got me. He hesitated a little wee bit right down here at the end. And one thing that we've seen with J-Port Cash since he's added Lasix, John, there's no hesitation on the end of it. He is flying on the end of it. I think he's got a little bit of an advantage that way. So J-Port Cash, the way I'm going to go.
Ultimately, again, what you just mentioned, that's why I went to J-Port Cash, is because I just have that image in my head of him just flying late, two starts back. So I think that if they're close or within striking distance, I think that J-Port Cash might have the edge. Really tough for me to separate Tricks Up My Sleeve and J-Port Cash tonight. Really, really tough because I give the edge to Tricks Up My Sleeve based off just his entire, you know, his season resume, right? His 2025 summary has been stronger. He's got a better draw to work with, and you know what? So far his gates have been sharp. He's handier, exactly.
The big thing that if Daryl doesn't push J-Port Cash out of the 9-hole last week, I think I go Tricks Up My Sleeve. You know what I mean? But he made him leave last week. I know it was the outside of the gate, but he made him push forward, and he's in a great advantage here, Daryl, because technically a horse will do what he wants to do if you can kind of trick him into thinking that he's doing what he wants to do. You see a horse like Gold Digger, pretty well guarantee that Tyler's going to be moving forward, whether he decides to cut it or not. He will be moving forward. You know, if I'm Daryl, let him get slightly ahead of you and then let J-Port Cash chase the horse. Don't chase the horse out of there and try to protect your position. Let Gold Digger bring you out of there. If he gets away mid-pack, that should be, to me, is good enough.
Yeah, Daryl Thiessen, you know, having some nice results here on the big track.
Racing great.
Upset victory last night with Olina at odds of 12-1. A couple of good, he picked up a couple of nice checks. I had her in for underneath. I thought she had a big shot if the pace collapsed. So she put forth a pretty good showing. It did.
Yeah.
And, you know, a couple starts on the big track definitely helped her maybe get her legs back into it, because I think she was doing some racing in the U.S. as well. I think at the Meadowlands she did some racing there too. So nice effort by her, but a nice job by Daryl, who's been, you know, putting in some pretty good results as of late. And big opportunity here in this Harvest Series final as well.
He's reading races well.
Yep.
Okay? Like you said, he's putting them in the right spot. He's not getting the most power of other drivers in that, but he's reading the race really, really well. It's just like when the time comes, he's in the spot where he needs to be.
And that seems to be the toughest transition, going from the small tracks to the big tracks, right? Because Daryl can get horses to snap off the car with ease, but that stretch is a lot longer and the racing is a lot different here on the big track. So you need to have, you know, be able to be a little bit more versatile in terms of your driving styles, and I think he's done exactly that.
I think that Daryl Thiessen, the world is his oyster, because what he has is something that most drivers don't have, and you can't teach a driver. Is he thinks like a horse, and that's not an insult. Honest to God, I love horses. I think they're the smartest creatures on the earth. He thinks like a horse. And I'll tell you one other driver that I drove against a lot, who I always thought to myself, you know, he thinks like a horse, is Ron Pierce. All he has to do is just bring in all the rest of it. He's built to be a driver. He's fearless. He's a nice guy. Got everything going for him. The biggest thing is learning to race on different size tracks, and he has really accomplished that in the last few months.
Can't be too nice out there, though. You know that.
Oh no,
you gotta have a little.
Well, I was always nice.
Yeah, you were always
bringing
nice.
me into your
into
your bad karma.
I've never heard anything bad about you when from
right.
the people who competed against you. Not one bit. So we're gonna move on to race number 7, and got a pacing event here, a field of 10. a few class droppers in here, but I think the most notable one for me has to be the morning line favorite, Cold Creek Queso, who was racing well in the open, Randy, but it just wasn't picking up good pieces, wasn't hitting the boards. But with this drop in class, I find it's going to be really tough to beat him in this spot.
Yeah, I say this is a free square.
I agree.
You?
I agree.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Big drop down. The horse is already racing in good form. The barn's been racing in good form. Jody's been, one of the hottest drivers on the circuit. There's just too much not to like about him. So let's take a look at Cold Creek Queso in November the 15th. And this was up in the open on a track that they were given 2 seconds. Trevor Henry going to be doing the driving tonight. Lots of different drivers on this guy. I'm not going to say Jody gets along the best with him. I'm saying that I think that Jody gets along the best with him now. I think at one time Sylvain Filion got along the best with this horse. But right now I think that, of the drivers that we have available here, Jody knows him and Jody knows when to pull the cork on him. So again, Trevor Henry up the inside with this big guy. Had the 4-hole that day to work with. He's not going to do anything in here that's going to be unbelievably crazy, but came into this race facing a 2-week deficit. And again, this is the open. Now he's going to be racing in non-winners of 9,000 tonight, John.
Yeah, he just seems to be, again, we're seeing a rejuvenated Cold Creek Queso, because he at one point just couldn't beat bottom condition company, and then just stepped into Daniel Walker's barn, and he just found a new lease on life, right? I mean, he's been putting it together, and he's been able to kind of bring out the back class in him, because it was always there, but he couldn't find it or reach for it for quite some time.
He's becoming consistent again. That's the big thing. That's all we really ask for is consistency, and he's becoming a consistent horse, a playable horse.
All right, so Cold Creek Queso, one of a few class droppers here in this spot, but he's going to be popular on the wagering, that's for sure. We're going to move on to race number 8. We've got another Harvest Series final here. We've got a field of 10 going postward, and we got a field of 10 going post, or field of 11. Is there 11 or 10? Oh,
no, 10.
10, sorry. The also eligible is going to be scratched in this spot, that being Belmont Blazer. So Figment, you mentioned him, morning line favorite at 6-5. He's going to look for a sweep here in this event. I don't believe he raced in leg number 2. He won leg 1. He's going to be in this final, and he's going to be tough to beat.
Very, very tough to beat in here. Okay, so we got 3 replays that we're going to show you in this race, because there was 3 different winners in these eliminations. So we're going to show you Figment, and then we're going to show you Strongman Hanover from last week, and we're also going to show you the Tulsa King from last week as well. So let's start this off with the big boy, and this is Figment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins in a row. If you go down below that second, there's another win there too. 6 for 7 so far to start his career. This David Keys trainee. For those that don't know David Keys, him and his parents were big owners with my father and my mother, my parents, for the longest time. They were Grant's Direct Stable, Norm Keys and Dick Dinner. And Dave Keys was been around horses his entire life. His whole background was business, but he wanted to be with horses, and he stayed right there. So great job done by him. I love the way that he's racing it out here. He's not being too much with him. That's Century Lucifer that finished second in there, and we know that he's got a lot of ability, but they could have went around another 4 times, John. They were not going to pick up Figment, but that was November the 8th. So now he decides he's going to miss the next week. So let's take a look at the eliminations of the Harvest from last week, which is going to be Strongman Hanover, and we're going to follow that up with the Tulsa King. So let's take a look at Strongman Hanover, and he's going to be facing off in here with Devil's Wish and Belmont Blazer, who John had told you is the also eligible tonight. Where did you go in this race?
I went Figment. Tough to go against him here in this spot. I wish I saw a little bit of a better showing from Century Lucifer last time out, but that was a bit of a tough trip. And now he's got post 10. He's still one that intrigues me. I used him underneath because, like you, I do think that he's got the ability to be competitive in this spot. But again, just the draw's going to be tough. I am intrigued with National Tier, though. I really do think he's got the ability and the speed. It's just he's got quirks, right? I mean, he puts in steps sometimes, but I'm really intrigued to see how James is going to get along with him in this spot. And I think he can pick up a big piece.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you in there. So Strongman Hanover for Josh McKibben and Daryl Thiessen, getting the job done just over Devil's Wish. That horse raced pretty good. Beaton's Barn's really starting to come around. I find that they're getting very, very hot right now. He's been a little bit quiet for a little bit, but his horses are starting to get deep again. So now let's take a look at the Tulsa King. This one, 6 for 24 this year for the team of Mary Ratchford and Todd Ratchford. This one come up with a nice effort in here in this one. Again, the track, 2 seconds off, and this one was able to beat the Parlay King and Tie Tour. I would say that, in my opinion, this is maybe the weaker of the two divisions, that we seen last week, but still a good effort on a muddy track by this guy. No point, is he going to give it up or anything? He just stays right with it. The 30-1 is a little bit, it bothers me a little bit, but this is the 10th race on a nasty night. By this time, the track was getting cold or deep, tiring, and it was cold out there, So I thought it wasn't a bad effort, but again, for the ones that are looking to play maybe one down underneath, maybe the Tulsa King is what they want.
Yeah, did you factor him in last week, though?
No.
Yeah, I didn't expect. I know I didn't do selections for last week, but I was just kind of grazing through some of those program pages, and just not one that I really factored, but a really nice winning effort there by that Mary Ratchford trainee. So one that, of course, is going to come into this final with some confidence, but like you said, the group is a lot deeper because he didn't have to take on the likes of Figment last week, who is going to be the way that most of us are going. So he's going to be a single for me. Did you opt to maybe have some coverage there? Or are you going all in on Figment as well?
All on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard not to. He's got a good draw to work with. He's so sharp. It seems like he's getting a little bit more comfortable behind that starting car.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, is always Dave Keys, stabled at Classy Lane, which is a wicked fast 7/8 mile track. He can, if he wants to get a fast mile into him, he can get a fast mile into him.
Yeah, and obviously a nice homebred by him. I know that there was a nice article by him in HRU that written by Matthew Lohman. Check it out, a nice little piece there. He got rid of a lot of his horses and a lot of his mares too. But he decided to hang on to this guy. I think that he had a little bit of a special meaning to him, maybe because of the dam, but
I read the article there. Keezy going, "Oh, I only want one, I only want two." Yeah, you wait. Yeah. You wait a few months there. I'll guarantee you, Keezy's got more than one or two.
Yeah, but I think they're pretty pleased that they hung on to this guy. And I'm curious to see, even beyond this series, just how this Son of Shadow play can develop. We're going to move on to race number 9. This is our feature tonight, Randy, or one of our couple features, right? We've got a couple of Harvest Series finals, but we've also got a $40,000 open pace, field of 7 going postward, and we've got the return of Brew Hanover, who we saw dominate this circuit here for quite some time. Then we never saw him race since that August 16th effort, and he's coming back into this event off a couple of qualifiers. I know that he's got the ability to get the job done at first asking. I think that a couple other rivals are maybe just a little bit sharper, and that's why for me it's a wait till next week approach with Brew Hanover.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, where did you go?
I went to Tarasi.
Oh, really?
He's one that I liked. I liked what I saw. I liked what I saw in that qualifying effort for me to have the confidence to back him in this spot. But I do know that, remember, the Alamo is going to be awfully tough to beat because, there's a lot of positives going into this event here in this specific spot with him.
Yeah, remember the Alamo is the way that I'm going to go, and that's the replay. No, we're not going to show you that replay. We're going to show you the replay of Brew Hanover's last qualifier. Now, I'm going to throw Brew Hanover in for second because, the Barney comes out of what he's done this year, picking up James McDonald. A lot to like about him. But I can honestly tell you, John, I don't like that first qualifier where he makes the break coming out of there. I don't like that. You know what I mean? I find that most good horses, that their attitude is the way it should be. They're not going to do something like that. Now, he does make a better appearance here. So let's roll on Brew Hanover here. And this is going to be Mark McKinnon. Going to be doing a little driving for Brew Hanover tonight. Let's go with Bubbles and Brew Hanover with this guy. And, Mark, he gets him off the gate, no problem with the rail. Absolutely, everything works out good. But he's not going to have any answer for the Tarasi coming on the outside. And that's because, Tarasi finally gets the driver that he's been looking for. Gets away from McNair, picks up Chris Matthews, and look at the job Chris Matthews does with this guy. I mean, take a lesson, McNair. Look at this.
I'm surprised Greg didn't list Chris back.
I can't believe that. I'm shocked too. Maybe Chris is busy. Yeah. That's probably what it is. But great job done by both of those individuals, Mark McKinnon and Chris Matthews, qualifying those horses for those guys. So I'm going to go Remember the Alamo on to Brew Hanover.
Yeah, you can't. I don't think you can go any wrong with anybody here in this spot, right? I mean, we know the class that Tarasi has. Remember the Alamo as well as Brew Hanover. The other three rivals here, or the other four, I should say, that are filling in, I just don't see how they're going to be able to work out winning trips, that being Blue Hunt, Captain Fear Not, Pacino, Hanover, and Jabberwocky. For me, the three that we mentioned off the top, Tarasi, remember the Alamo and Brew Hanover, they're clearly the ones to beat here in this spot.
Yeah, Jabberwocky now coming in here with 2 straight wins. We know that when he's on his game, you know, he's tough, but I don't think that the Jabberwocky, I'm going to tire everybody out and make them tired, is going to work in against some of these. So,
no.
yeah, I'm the same as you. I do not see him getting to the winner's circle in this.
Looking forward to this race. That's going to be race number 9. That's going to be the first half of that first part of that final pick 3. We've got 11 tonight. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm trying to get out of here earlier than we're supposed to. Early pick 5 tickets. Let's go through yours first.
Okay, we're going to start with just a couple of, we're going to go 3-7 in the first there. That's going to be Bunkhouse Babe and Lou-Hoo. I'm going to throw Lou-Hoo in there. In the race 2, I single Bruno, no. Race 3, go a little deep in here. I used all my picks. I go 1, 2, 4, and 9. My top pick is going to be Stonebridge Impish.
Okay.
Picking up McDonald again in the middle. And race number 4, I go single with Mr. Ibiza. I think that he is a horse that is really, really sharp right now, you know, and he's can easily make his way back up that class ladder. In race number 5, as much as I want to go with Living on the Beach Life, I actually went Living on the Beach Life, and I threw Stone Carver in as well.
Can't fault you there. You've had success with Stonebridge Impish as well, given him out at a pretty big number in the past. I'm going to go with the single to kick things off. I'm going to go all in on Jim's Rising Sun. I liked his effort. I liked his first career start at Flamborough. He followed that up with a victory. But I like to start here on the big track for the first time last time out. I thought that was a really nice acclimating mile, so I think he's ready for an even bigger performance here, and I'm loving the number at 9-1 here early on. And I'm going to go 3 deep. I know Bruno No is the one who is the one to beat. I also want to use Steamboat Springs and a Magical Bet because he's going to be in a pretty good spot, and if somehow he's pretty good on a fitness standpoint, I do think that this is a horse that has been racing well and could get the job done in here. And I'm going to have some coverage in those last couple of legs. I agree with you. Mr. Ibiza, the horse to beat, Randy. I also wanted to use Ginger Tree Finney, one that I'm intrigued with. And I also use Control the Power. And to close things out, I'm going to go Live in the Beach Life. And I can't remember if I went 3-4-5 or just 3-5 to close things up. But nevertheless, Live in the Beach Life going to be my top choice in that spot. But I'll throw in a couple others as well.
Sweet, nice, dude. You know what I think the pick 6 is gettable tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go through that sequence later on this evening as well. As for your 4-pack, who do you got going for us?
Okay, my 4-pack is going to start off in race number 2. My all-in is going to be a Bruno. Yes. Mm-hmm. And in race number 3 is going to be my Worth a Look. That's going to be Stonebridge Impish. I love the way with James coming back. Good post to work from. Beat the favorite, Live in the Beach Life in there. I think that there's going to be somebody else I like in there. I think is going to be the favorite. I don't see it being Live in the Beach Life. And my Waples watch is going to be Captain Hurley, who was flying on the end of it.
Yes, he was. We know he's got the speed, but he just needs the pace scenario to set up for him. But
tough bunch he's got to race against.
Tough bunch indeed. And we're going to go head-to-head in the finale, though. My spot play is going to be Jim's Rising Sun here in the opener, currently offering 8-1 value. My all-in is going to be Pa Salt. Nice victory by him last time out. Drop and pop's going to be Cold Creek Queso, and my best bet's going to be Uncle Shank in the finale. So there's our thoughts there for that 11-pack. There's some plays of the nights from myself and Randy, but we're also going to provide some plays of the night from our resident handicappers. Garnet Barnsdale going to Arbitrage Hanover as his spot play, so he's going to go head-to-head with you and I, Randy. And Doug Henwood, he's taking over Nahu Picks tonight. His Deep Crunch is going to be drinking buddy in the finale. And Gisland Paquette, he's signing with me. Final key, Uncle Shank. So a couple of different approaches in that last race.
That last race is a tough race.
It is. It is. I wish that was a part of one of the multi-legs, truthfully, because that would have been a nice little, in the pick 5 sequences, that would have been cool, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you're going, who is it that you like so much in there?
I really do like Uncle Shank, though.
Yeah, I do, too. I'm a little surprised that Captain Hurley is 2-1 morning line. That I didn't expect.
Don't think
but
he'll
I
be
do
the
think
favorite.
that he's racing good right now.
Yeah, I do not think he'll be the favorite, but
No,
definitely
neither.
one that finds himself in a better spot. Just the draw maybe not ideal for him. 2 minutes to go before we kick off this Saturday night program. Randy and I will be with you guys all night long to take you through the action.